Hey everybody. Hi, happy Monday. How are y'all doing? Good to see everybody here. I am very excited to talk about the mind-body connection today because that is the thing that once you hook it in and you lock it in, everything changes in your technique, in your singing, in your performances, in the opportunities that you're getting with your singing, if you're a professional, the money that you're able to get, the gigs you're able to land, like everything is hinging on the mind-body connection. And it's a topic that gets talked about in athletics a lot, right? People talk about mind, body, and athletics like pro athletes and Olympians. They understand that they're training the mental game as much as the physical game because they get that those two things work together to create the best physical output, right? So it gets a lot of talk also in the self-actualization world, mind, body, some go to the spiritual part of it. But really, you guys, what I want to focus on today is exactly how the mind-body connection works in singing and for singers. So just to make sure you guys fully understand, I mean, if you watch my content, I talk about this all the time, but the entire body is your instrument, not just this, your vocal cords, okay? And your entire body needs to be working together to create the best possible sound and the most impactful performance. And your mind is part of your body. And unfortunately, it's the part that gets left out in most traditional ways that singers are trained. Mindset was not a thing that I was trained on in all of my fancy conservatory training and conservatory degrees in undergrad and graduate school. And it wasn't addressed at all. And it wasn't until I started to do a decade plus deep dive into my own mindset and self-actualization and psychology around stuff that had to do with singing and stuff that didn't have to do with singing. But all of it, I started to realize how it all started to inform how I used my body in the moment of singing and in the moment that counts when I'm on stage, the moment that I need to deliver. And the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And that is something that I have learned over and over again. So if I am a person who is incredibly let's say I'm a person who's incredibly hard on myself. Let's say I'm a person who has like a really loud and vicious inner critic. Or let's say I'm a person who shrinks, does not like to be seen or heard because that's in their psychology. These are two types of mindsets that affect your body. Because, for example, if I'm a person who is a really harsh inner critic, that inner critic is going to show up whether I feel like I chose the wrong car when I went to buy a car and it's going to beat me up, something as silly as that. And it's going to beat me up when I'm in the waiting room waiting for that audition. It's going to beat me up when I'm on stage in that audition. It's going to beat me up when I'm practicing. It's going to beat me up when I'm performing. Like you guys get this, right? Wherever you go, you take yourself with you. And so you can't address technique, vocal technique, and impact in performance. Those things do not exist in a vacuum. They don't. And so understanding how you show up in your mind, if you're somebody who doesn't like to be seen, if you're somebody who in their life tends to want to just kind of, not make waves, whatever, that shows up, believe it or not, in how you practice. It shows up in what happens when you go on stage, for better or for worse, okay? Because here's the thing, and this is like key to understanding the mind-body connection, which is you get what you think about, whether you want it or not. Like, get that, you guys. You get what you think about, whether you want it or not. Wherever your attention is focused, that is where your energy is going to go. And so we sabotage our physiology because vocal technique, guys, is just physiology. It's just physics and physiology and biology in terms of like how the body was built to make sound and the techniques that we use to optimize that. It's not juju, woo-woo, whatever. It's literally science in how we use the muscles to create the exact optimum velocity and volume of air passing through the cords that produces the most resonant, beautiful sound. Just science. But we can get in the way of Mother Nature's most effective production of sound by what we think. Because if I'm that person who is constantly beating themselves up, right? How does that manifest in my body when I go to practice? I'm going to get this, make this. I have to force this, to do this, because if I don't, I'm going to fail. I'm going to be the worst person ever on that stage. I'm never going to get it right. They're going to laugh at me. I'm not going to be worth it. I'm not going to, all the ways in which inner critic is beating you up, and you don't want to feel that. So your body decides to fight, and you go into that forcing, that pushing, that oftentimes straining, not because you don't know any better. Many singers have really good technique that they intellectually understand. But in that moment of either practice or in that moment that counts in the audition or recording studio or performance, that inner critic mind sabotages the technique that you otherwise understand. And the body goes, nope, not going to do it. I'm going to do this thing instead. I'm going to force it because I can't fail, because I'm the worst piece of shit that ever lived. And I can't feel that way. And I'm exaggerating here, guys, but for most of us, it's like super insidious, the ways in which our mindset sabotages the mind-body connection in the moment. So in order to create a more efficient and constructive mind-body connection, we first have to understand the ways in which we go sideways from that. And it's all the stinking thinking. Those of you I see who are in the chat, like Sachin, hi, it's so good to see you. Sachin knows about stinking thinking because he's worked with us. All the ways in which stinking thinking, the weeds in the mind overtake. And you guys, your body is only ever following what your mind is telling it all day, every day, in ways that you're present to and in ways that you're not, right? In ways in which your brain just regulates your heart beating, the way that if you're going to sweat or not, if you're like nervous, you know what I'm saying? But like your thoughts create a reaction then that cascades through the body. So if that inner critic is beating you up and you're really worried that you're going to fail because you don't feel good enough and you're in that audition, you better believe that you're sweating. You better believe that your breath gets tight and high. And this is not because you don't know any better, right? But it's because your physical body is having a reaction to the thoughts going on in your mind that are now creating circumstances in the body that make it really difficult for you to use your technique, for you to make a big impact, connect with the audience, and have the most successful performance. So in order to create a more constructive mind-body connection, first it's like starting to really witness your thinking. Start to witness, what are the thoughts and the beliefs that I have, some of which you may have chosen and decided on for yourself, some of which may have been given to you. Ideas, thoughts, beliefs around your talent, singing, around abundance, around the journey, around your career as a singer. Those beliefs, those thoughts, those ideas might have been given to you by society, by your parents, by your religious communities, social groups, right? Like, so start to like really witness the thoughts without judging them, just noticing them. We do a lot of work on this in our intensive training program, learning how to detach, just gently, compassionately detach from the thoughts and witness them, because you will see things that you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that I was thinking that. Wow. Like, it's no wonder that I don't have consistency in my voice. It could be thoughts that might seem insignificant, like high notes are hard. Well, that's a mode of thinking. You've decided that something is hard. It's a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset. There's no room. This is the way it's been. This is the way it always is. This is the way it's always going to be. High notes are hard. Okay. Well, if that's my thinking and that's the thought and this is just a silly little example of a silly little thought, but if that's the thought, high notes are hard, what does my body do? What happens in your body when you think something is going to be difficult? You brace for it, or you try to force it. And that is what many of you do because you have that belief, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that high notes are hard. And now your body is, that mind-body connection has been broken by your thinking. And you will not use your body in a way that supports the high note that you want to have. Instead, you're going to brace, you're going to force, you're going to push. And then the high note is not going to show up the way you want it to. And guess what? Now you have reinforcement that high notes are hard, and that thinking perpetuates. So in order to break that pattern and create a more constructive mind-body connection, we have to notice the thoughts, and notice the thoughts that serve and the thoughts that don't. So that, like, in order to create a constructive mind-body connection, you guys, the number one skill that you need to condition, the muscle you need to build, is learning how to detach and witness your thoughts. So like I was saying, singers who work with us in our intensive training program get a ton of support on this because we're giving them guided meditations each week. We're teaching them via thought exercises how to start witnessing and starting to get clarity on these thoughts that don't serve. They have one-on-one coachings with our mindset coach, Judy. They have mindset calls with us. I mean, we support our singers hardcore around this because I could give you the best technique in the world. And trust me, we work our singers hardcore on technique. It's important. And it will not matter if your brain is sabotaging your body from using it, because the mind-body connection is broken. It does not know, the body and the mind are not working together because there's no gentle witness to be able to start reflecting and mirroring these things back to you. So the other way we also create a more constructive mind-body connection that is rock solid is being able to choose beliefs and choose thoughts that do serve. And so what I mean by that is moving from fixed mindset to growth mindset. Instead of high notes are hard, well, how about my body was built to do this? My body, you know how many singers will come to me at the start of training with us and say, like, I don't have a head voice, or like my high notes suck, or, you know, some version of that. And I'll be like, okay, cool. And so we'll just be like starting, you know, exercises, whatever we'll do. And I will pause and I'll be like, hey, can you just like siren for me all the way up and down the top of your range? And they're like, sure. And so they'll go, ah, and I'm like, oh, high notes are hard, really? Because you just sirened, you just sirened all the way up into your head voice. High notes are hard? No, your body was built to do that. You just have all kinds of beliefs that are getting in the way of your body being able to do the thing it was built to do, the thing you just did when you went, you got that note? No problem, right? So, you know, it's one of my favorite moments when I see a singer and we do that and they're like, oh. And so it's like all these beliefs around what they have to do when they sing and how they have to sound and how perfect they have to be and not failing and be embarrassed or judged, or, you know, it comes from so many different places, guys. And yet all those beliefs are keeping them in fixed mindset that high notes are hard, but they're not really. They just sirened up to the top of the scale. So how about my body was built to do this? Right? That's an example of flipping a belief so that we're reinforcing and creating a more constructive, solid mind-body connection instead of one that doesn't serve. So here's a way that actually I like to think about it. Your mind-body connection is always working. It's just whether it's working for you, creating the sound and the opportunities that you want, or whether it's working against you. It's always working. Your mind and your body are always talking to each other. But is it connecting in ways that serve or ways that don't? So as you move forward today in your practice, in your singing, I want you to start to witness your thoughts. Even when you're not singing, let's say you're going on the computer and you're looking at, you know, gig opportunities. on Gig Salad or on, Broadway.com or Backstage, and you're looking for audition notices, as you're doing that, notice the thinking. Are you looking at every notice and being like, I can't, that's not right. I'm not good enough. They'll never choose me. I couldn't really do that. That's not right. That's not right. Like, are you in that thinking of being what I call an immediate no? Or are you in possibility thinking? Oh, let me try. Let me get curious. Let me go to that audition and see what happens. Let me get some data, right? So like really start to notice you're thinking around these everyday things, because you will start to get some very important data around the places where the mind-body connection is not serving you for singing. And then you can start to choose beliefs, choose thoughts that serve what you want instead of ones that don't. And if that feels like a tough task, right? It's simple. That doesn't mean it's easy, right? But that's why we're here. That's what we are the best in the world at, is helping singers to go through a really powerful, intensive process to create that connection so that they sound better than they ever have. It's easier, it's more reliable, and it's more successful because they're not getting in their own way. So if you're interested in talking to me more about that, when I hop off, I'm going to put in the chat a link to get on my calendar if you want to book a call with me. This call, you guys, is only for singers who are, so it's not for everyone. This is not for new singers, for singers who have never studied, for singers who are just at the very beginning of their journey. This is for singers who are in the game. You are in the hustle, you are auditioning, you are recording, you are performing, and you're just not seeing the results that you want. You've been probably taking traditional lessons and you're not seeing the results that you want in the form of the reliable voice, in the form of the voice that blows people away that you do effortlessly, and in the form of those high-level opportunities that you're able to land. And so if you're struggling with a lot of that, then get on my calendar. We'll talk for like half an hour. This is a free call, but it's not a voice lesson. Okay. This is for us to get really clear to see if what's going on, like where stuff is broken, the things that are sabotaging you, where you are right now, where you want to go. And if I think that we can help, I'll share with you what that looks like. And if not, that's okay too. Okay. So as soon as we're off this, I will put that in the chat. And yeah, I'm so happy to see so many of you on here. So start witnessing your thoughts and let me know how it goes. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time.